What's up, folks? I'm Private Hudson, and today we're gonna be taking a look at my experience at a New York City hospital, as well as my review of COVID-19. Because, unfortunately, I got it. And yes, we've made some upgrades here. I am gonna do this in one take, one go, with no editing, and it's probably gonna be sloppy, but I'm exhausted. It's 7 a.m. right now. I haven't slept at all because just now I just finally broke a fever. If I cough, shit, fart, or something in the background, hopefully whatever noise removal I have preemptively set up here removes it. If not, I apologize. But the experience was insane, and I just think it has to be documented before I forget it while it's still fresh in my mind. So this kind of starts just a few days ago. Today it's, what day is it? It's May 10th. It's a Tuesday. So Thursday, shit picked it up. I'm sorry. So Thursday, Friday, I wasn't feeling well. Had a call at work. Food didn't go down. Water didn't go down. Goes in one way, it went out the same way. Saturday at this point, it's like I'm thinking it's day three. You know, this is probably a big problem. So I go to the emergency room. Now I don't know about emergency rooms in other locations in other states, countries, but here um there's basically, like a queue system, except the queue system initially depends on the intake person. You walk up to the receptionist there, and depending on what you tell them, that basically ends up being your spot on the queue. Um, so what I learned, and this is a fact, at least in New York City hospitals, is that you know if it's a dire emergency, you need to see someone immediately. Excuse me, it's a bit hard to speak. Just tell them you're having a heart attack. Otherwise, they're gonna put you on a spot, God knows where. Just from my own experience, a few months back, I had this terrible, terrible thing. I had this abscess growing on the side of my tonsil, and and no matter what you say to the receptionist, intake person, or whatever, they're just gonna like write down two words. Even if like you could have like a gunshot wound, we'll just write, arm pain or leg pain, depending on where you tell them. I had this abscess on my tonsil. It was blocking the airway. It started to block the airway to my throat. I couldn't eat, I couldn't swallow, I could barely speak. And I went up to the guy, grasping at my throat, and I'm like, listen, I have this thing in my mouth. I can barely talk. Need to see a doctor. He needs to take a look at it. It's inside the back of my throat. You know what he writes? Just writes sore throat. Um, so I was just laying in pain for about a half hour, not even in any queue system, because sore throat is not a big deal. It's not a big deal for the emergency room until I saw a nurse, and I'm like, nurse, please, please. And she's like, what's wrong? And I just go, and I shout, and she's like, holy fuck, we gotta escalate this immediately. That shit might need to get fucking drained somehow through externally, like stick a needle. So so I went to the hospital, told them I was having a heart attack, just to get in front of the queue. And of course, it gets you the VIP treatment immediately. And they load me up with meds, starting to feel good. And, my goal was just to get, first in, first out, get whatever I needed, whatever medicine I needed to feel better, because it was a Saturday. And, I wanted to make sure that I would be good for work on Monday because I missed a lot of work last week. And I hate missing work when I feeling like shit because I don't like leaving the team one man down. I feel like we already work at 100%, 110% level. And when we're down a guy, it just puts more pressure on everyone else. Of course, people need days off, they need vacations. I just don't like being sick, and I hate being sick back to back. So my goal was to just get whatever medication I needed and get out. So I was already feeling better. It was approaching the evening, and I was already starting to discuss, getting discharged. And, at least at this hospital, the shift, the people, they just rotate fucking as extremely often. It's like you go in, it's like, oh, I'm Dr. Jack Keesby. I'm going to be your doctor for today. Don't worry. Tell me what's wrong. I'll be right there with you. You never see the fucking guy again. 3 hours later, oh, I'm Dr. Nicole Adams. Tell me what's wrong. I'll help you. I'll help you. Anyways, it's the evening. The new replacement is this old Santa Claus looking fucking Russian guy. And he's like, so you want to go home? You're not going home. I'm like, dude, I'm fine, man. The blood work is fine. My vitals are fine. I'm fine. I got work on Monday. It's Saturday night. Let me go home. Let me get rest. Let me get, ready for, a tough week of work. He's like, no, reason you're fine now is because you're on medicine. But what happened when medicine ran off? And I'm like, fuck, what's he threatening me with? And so I'm like, shit, I don't know. I communicate with my fiance. I text my manager. I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm in the hospital. Don't know how long I'm going to be in here, but I'll keep you updated. Try discussing it with my fiance. And, obviously she wants to be home. I want me to be home. The guy does have a little bit of an argument because it is getting late. And so I'm like, what do you suggest? He's like, you can get room. You stay in room. You continue get medicine. Tomorrow you go home. And I'm like, you know what? I guess might as well. So I'm like, okay, sure. But I've never had like a room before. Like, what is it? It's like, oh, it may be by yourself, maybe someone else. They just come, give you medicine, they give you breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then once you're good, you go home. And I'm like, fuck, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Again, I came here because I was just vomiting up anything that I was ingesting. So I'm like, all right, more medicine, a bed, and food sounds like a good idea. So I agreed. And yeah, one of the head nurse was talking to me. He was like, yeah, that's a good idea. She was really helpful and like getting me better. And then comes along like her assistant, and this dude was cool. I liked him. He was funny, and comes up to me and tells me, like, aside from the condition that was being treated at the time, he's like, hey man, you tested positive for COVID. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm I'm double vaccinated. I don't go anywhere. He's like, nah, man, you tested positive for COVID. And I was in like a, I was grouped with another person. I was in a mask the whole time. As you can see right there, that was me. I was in a mask the whole time. The guy next to me had no mask, and he's been there as long as I was. So this black dude starts quietly, after discovering that I'm apparently COVID positive, starts wheeling out the other dude's equipment, takes the stretcher. He's like, "Come on, man, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." And then I overhear him like being angry at like his team. He's like, "Damn it! This is the first COVID positive person we've had in weeks. Damn it!" And so then him and that nurse from before, they come back, except this nurse looks a little different. She's not wearing just a mask anymore. She's wearing 3 masks, one on top of another, along with a fucking hazmat suit. And then they're like, "You're not going to the normal room anymore. You're going to the COVID room." I'm like, what the fuck is the COVID room? They're like, "Oh, you'll be by yourself, but we'll be out. Don't worry. It's the same thing as a normal room, except you're isolated." And at that point, I'm getting scared. I'm getting worried. They take my stretcher and they start wheeling me down to God knows where. I swear to fucking God, this place, to get there, they went through like 3 secret out of order service elevators, did some fucking door code, put in a pass key just to enter this place. And I'm panicking this whole time. I'm like, what did I get myself into? And as they're rolling me down through this room, I see the, I see the rooms of the other patients, and they all look like they got a fucking incubated with a face hugger from Alien on them. Got that shit on their mouth, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in here? So, take me to my room, and it's, do I have the right one? Yeah. It's got this garbage bin on the right, a chair, a sink, and a toilet. Everything's just out in the open. By the way, this thing is so to flush that toilet's made of wood. To flush it, you have to hit that black button on the bottom. And to activate the sink, you have to push in that wooden block in the middle. I don't know who built this shit, but it's like that shit was built from like the fucking Revolutionary Warriors. This kind of prehistoric construction. And they basically put me in a different bed, hook me up to this fucking death machine that's monitoring my vitals, put like 30 pads on my chest, and connect the IV thing I had to the dripper. And yeah, so I ask them, I'm like, "So can I have dinner? I was promised dinner." And dude's like, "There's no dinner for you tonight." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'll wait till morning. I've already waited 3 days to eat." And at that point, I'm like, "Well, if I need to use that prehistoric bathroom. How do I unstrap myself from all this? The dude's like, just press the help button. And he leaves. And I press the help button on the bed like 50 times. That shit don't work. It was broken. And so are a lot of the other buttons on the bed. And the dude comes back. It takes him like a half hour to fix it and shit. And yeah, so I go back in bed. And I didn't realize I was going to be hospitalized, so I didn't bring anything with me. I just had my phone, which at this point was losing charge since I was communicating with several people throughout the day. And I was like at less than 20% or something, so I turned it off just to save battery. I'm like, if I knew I was gonna be fucking incubated here, I would have brought a laptop, a switch or something. They have that TV up there. All that shit had was like prehistoric shows. That's all it had. It's like 50 channels of like bad 90s shows that no one ever watched. And so laying down, it's midnight at this point, and I figure, I should get some sleep. Except I start hearing a sound. So the IV they connected me to, again, I would assume it's like a regular IV, like they had upstairs, I guess, since I was now in some underground COVID-only bunker. But no, it was going through like some weird thing, and every time the thing dripped, it made this sound literally every fucking 2 seconds. To make matters worse, that fucking Death Star machine to my other side, which is, monitoring my vitals. Thing is, I'm a hairy man, as you can tell from all the hair in my head, hair in my face. Imagine the hair on my chest. I'll give you a little peek. I'm not gonna take off my shirt. But those sticky pads, they don't stick very well because of the hair. So I'm basically laying down like fucking Jesus Christ, or doing the Tommy Dreamer victory pose. And I'm like, I gotta get some sleep. I can't sleep laying on my back. But the second I move a millimeter to my side, that machine goes fucking berserk. And I pat down all the pads. I make sure everything is on me. So I try again, and every single fucking time. So I'm stuck laying like this. So much as a fart triggers that fucking beast. Somehow I pass out. Somehow I fall asleep in the middle of this. And I wake, and again, I don't know. I wake up. I don't know what time it is, what day it is anymore, because my phone is off. I'm trying to conserve battery because I have no idea how long I'm going to be here. Look at the clock on the wall. It's 2:32. And I peek outside the glass door they had to my room, and I saw lights, not like artificial lights, but what looked like sunlight. So I'm like thinking, it's 2:32 p.m. I slept for that long, and no one bothered to come and give me breakfast or lunch. And I told them so many fucking times I haven't eaten or drank anything in fucking ages. So I hit the fucking wait button. I'm not wait, the help button. Some angry lady comes along and she's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, I want you to unwrap me. And she's like, "You have to use the toilet?" I'm like, "No, isn't it time to eat? It's 2:30." And she's like, "It's 2:30 a.m. Wake you up at 6." So I'm like, I only slept for 2.5 hours. I have so much more time to go with, and basically lay motionless until it's 6 a.m. Oh, and by the way, they promised me more medicine, but that drip machine, all they put in was saline. Got no medicine. So it's 6 a.m. now. I've been there for 6 hours, laying like Jesus fucking Christ, tied to a machine that makes crazy sounds the second it gets loose from one of my nipple hairs. And a fucking other thing that doesn't stop dripping, nothing but useless salt water. 6 a.m. I'm expecting, someone to come, wake me up, be like, "Hey, it's time for breakfast." Um, no one comes. Like, all right, they probably got other people. It's 6:05, nothing. 6:10, nothing. 6:15, I start mashing that help button. No one's coming. It's 6:20. I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off being connected to this machine. I'm pissed off from the fucking dripping sound. You know that sound? It's what the Chinese do when they interrogate people. They lock you in a fucking cage and just have a water dropping. That's what I was going through for almost 6.5 hours. At that point, I had enough. I ripped the shit from my chest, all the fucking wires, which took a lot of my chest hair with me. I ripped that shit off, and I was getting up. I mean, I was still connecting to the Dripmeister 5000, but I can kind of move that. And that same lady comes in. She's yelling at me. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Where the fuck is breakfast? You told me 6 a.m. It's fucking 6:30. I've been here listening to fucking Killer Johnny 5 in this fucking drip machine. I haven't gotten any medicine. I haven't gotten any food. I want to get discharged. You fuckers lied to me." So she gets the head nurse, the one with the 3 masks and the fucking hazmat suit, comes in. She's like, "What's going on? What are you yelling about?" And I explained the situation really angrily. I'm like, "This is what you and fucking Russian Santa Claus told me upstairs. I would get fucking breakfast, lunch, and dinner down here. I would get medicine. I haven't gotten any fucking food yet, and I haven't gotten any fucking medicine either, because that's just fucking saline. That's just fucking salt water. Now, since you haven't ended up your end of the bargain, why the fuck am I still here? I want to get out. I feel fine." And then she's like, "Let me talk to the head person. We'll figure this out for you." And she comes back a few minutes later. I sit down on the corner of the room, and she brings me the first nutritious meal I've had in days. And the first drink I got crackers and two, not just one, but two little juice cups. You know the shit you give to little fucking kids at elementary school? One was orange juice, I think the other one was cranberry apple. I drank that shit as if I just discovered an oasis in the desert. I'm like, "See, look, I can drink without puking up anymore. Eat the crackers. I can eat without throwing up anymore. All my vitals are fine." She even finds a stale turkey sandwich for me that they were about to chuck, because that's how like old it was getting, and it was, just like eating at Subway, or I don't know what's a good hero spot. I don't know. It's like going to your deli and getting a hero. It was two slabs of cold stale white bread with two pieces of turkey in the middle, and I gobbled that up like a motherfucker because I was so hungry. And then she's like, "Okay, we'll fix the pads and we'll get you your medicine." And they did fix the pads. They got like larger pads that were better adhesives. They used less of them, instead of 30, apparently. They only needed 5. Why the fuck did I have 30 in the first place? And then a really friendly, nice dude kept coming in, kept giving me more medicine. It's like, oh, hey, it's time for this, it's time for that, it's time for so and so. And he was really friendly too, because I can't get out of the bed to get a drink of water. He moved the table close to me, brought me a jug of water. He's like, here you go. Need anything, let me know, you know, and I really appreciated it. And at that point, I was finally able to sleep. And I slept, and, I was woken up a couple of times just for people to, give me more medicine, check my vitals. And they kept reminding me that I tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, you're fucking full of shit. Before I was sent down, when the black dude told me I had COVID, I'm like, that's impossible. I work from home. I don't go anywhere. Once a week at most, I might go for a walk or to a supermarket. Are you telling me that the cucumber I bought, someone fucking infected, coughed on, and I ended up chopping it up and eating it? Is that what you're fucking telling me? Because that's the only way I could have gotten COVID. And so it goes a bit further in the day, and that nice guy, um, I ask him, what chance is there that I'm going to get discharged anytime soon? And he's like, I got a good feeling you're going to get discharged today. And I'm like, and I'll put in a good word for you. I'll help you out because you look fine to me. You're asymptomatic, and whatever you had when you came here, that's gone. And I'm like, thank God. Unfortunately, he gets replaced like 10 minutes later. So now I'm back to square zero. I got, well, square one, if I don't know terminology. I haven't slept. This guy I have no rapport with. He doesn't know me, I don't know him, so it's back to telling people, please let me fucking go home. Eventually, 2 people come. We're like, okay. I check my vitals. They're like, okay, you look good. You're looking good. We're going to, downgrade your status and move you to a more downgraded facility. And you look like you should be on schedule to get discharged tomorrow. What the fuck? I keep telling them I have work on Monday. This is Sunday now. I'm like, dude, I have work on Monday. Everyone's telling me I'm fine. Let me fucking go. They're like, oh, you can stay one more day. I'm like, no, I can't. I had to take days off the previous week because I was fucking sick. Now that sickness is cured. Now I'm good. So let me fucking go so I can go back to fucking work. And they're like, okay, we'll be back. We'll see. We'll bring this up the fucking chain. And I keep going back to sleep because again I didn't sleep the night before, and then a little bit later, the 2 dweebs come back with this woman, and she was pretty, real pretty, but she had to describe her. She was dressed very business professional. Like she had a full proper dress suit. I don't know what the thing the ladies wear called, but she had that on and shit. You know, she looked like the type of woman that works or that would work at like an evil corporation, something like Umbrella. She's like the bossy dominant type where if you come to her and with paperwork and it's shit, she'll drop it on the floor and tell you to drop on the floor as well and lick her heels. That's the kind of lady that she came off as. And she's like, "You're not getting discharged today, you're getting discharged tomorrow." And I keep repeating the same shit. I'm like, all of you are telling me that I'm fucking fine. By the way, I never got a breakfast and lunch. That was a lie. Other than the crackers and that stale turkey sandwich that they were going to throw out, that's the only thing they gave me. So fucking Santa Claus and the fucking spacewalker hazmat Half-Life nurse lied. So I'm arguing here with the fucking Resident Evil 8 lady. Or 9, or whatever. The one with the tall bitch. Except this one's not tall. But, I mean, she was tall, but not that tall. Anyway, that's not the point. At that point, I get angry again, and I'm like, listen. I have work tomorrow. What don't you fucking understand? She's like, well, we'll just write official papers from the hospital saying that you can't come into work tomorrow. And then I'm like, I work remotely from my fucking house. What good is that gonna fucking do? And it just keeps going back and forth. And I'm like, listen, I want out of here. I can do the thing where I sign myself out without, medical, whatever it is, going against medical advice. And she's like, fine. So she sends one of her little goblin boys to get the paperwork. All I had to sign was just my name on one thing saying that blah, blah, blah. I refuse to consent to medical care, that I want to go home. I turn my phone on. At this point, the thing is at 1% battery. At 1 fucking percent battery. That 1% was so clutch. Because this was like a fucking escape scene. I call my fiance. I was praying she would answer the phone, and she did. And I'm like, babe, I'm getting out of here right now. They're discharging me. Can you pick me up? Yes. Okay, pick me up at blah, 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 blah. Not blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Not blah, 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 blah. You know, blah, blah, blah? Yes, I know, blah, 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 hon. I'm like, yes, please, babe, I beg you. Please be there. I am getting out of here. Please, I love you. Please. Thank you. And then I rip off all the fucking wires again. Some dude helps me take out the fucking IV from my hand. I get my clothes. I change as quickly as possible. I grab some other shit I can. And I'm like, where's the exit, dude? Because again, I'm in some underground bunker in the middle of nowhere where they're like doing experiments on COVID positive people. And he's like, oh, it's just at the end of the hall to the left. I'm like, all right, dude, thanks. He's like, you too, man. Good luck. Feel better. I'm like, I feel fine. So I'm walking down this hall. Longest fucking hall known to man. And I get to the end. And there's another exit sign. So then I walk that way. And I walk to the end. Another exit sign pointing to the right. This took like 15 minutes. And during this period, I saw no living beings. Well, no dead ones either. But there were like doors to other areas I probably could have entered. I didn't, of course. But there's no signs of any life. It was the creepiest shit ever. Eventually, going from corridor to corridor, hall to hall, whatever. I finally at the end of one of them, there's a security guard. What the fuck is he guarding when there's no life in like a 5 mile vicinity here. And I'm like, sir, can you tell me where the exit is? He's like, yeah, it's just over to your left. So I go to the left, and there's like another split, and both signs say exit. So I go to the one on the right, and it's literally barricaded. It's barricaded, and I start to cry. I'm like, why is this barricaded? I swear to God, that exit entrance was legit barricaded with fucking, not just fucking tape, but with fucking bars, with furniture and shit. So I pray that the left one takes me out, and it did. And then I saw my fiance's car, and I hop in, and I'm like, just drive. Drive, please, please, take me home, take me home, take me home. And we're home, and I am woozy as fuck from all the drugs and medicine they kept injecting me with for practically 2 days. So I'm feeling jolly. I'm having a jolly good time, bumping into walls, almost fell off my ass here, almost knocked all this shit down. But I'm like, I feel great. I cook, finally eat some real food, cooked up chicken and potatoes, ate it up. I'm like, some good shit. It's nice to fucking eat. Had made some green tea, had some water. I'm like, man, I'm feeling fucking great. Played even a video game I played. I'm like, all right, time to go to sleep and wake up to work. I am out. I'm not gonna miss work on Monday. Monday morning, my alarm goes off. I wake up and I notice feeling very differently than I did the night before. It seems that I was suffering from COVID-19. Whatever drugs, medicine they kept giving me was probably halting down, fixing whatever I had, while also halting down any of these systems. But I woke up with a huge fucking fever, and I'm like, fuck me. I can't miss work. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. They're like, this guy keeps calling out. What the fuck? And I get so worried. I stumble out of bed. I crawl to my computer. I find that little sheet of paper with the signed form that says, positive for COVID, verified, blah, 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 this date, this hospital, blah, blah, blah. I send it to my team, email them. I'm like, God, you're not going to believe it. I got fucking COVID, dude. I feel like fucking shit. I had a fever. My throat was killing me. Had nausea, runny nose, and I felt so tired. Oh my God. And I missed one of these pictures. Yeah, that's when they were hooking me up to the death machine over there. I don't know why they had a sunflower picture there. But yeah, I just, they told me it's okay. I'll see if they have a COVID PDO policy. And then I just crashed. I crashed for like 10 hours. Woke up still feverish. And I found out that, God bless our New York City Department of whatever, has a COVID department where they can get you COVID pills. There's a cure. There's now a cure. You take these pills for 5 days and you're fucking cured. So I call the number. And there was maybe a 2-minute hold time. I got through pretty quick. He asked me, basic information, what's your name, what's your address, your date of birth, when were you tested positive, from where you tested positive, I was like, okay, thanks for your information. I'm making a note of this. Now I'm going to pass this along further up the chain. I'm like, all right, God, thank you so much. I've had this fever all day. Nothing is helping. And yeah, so then I speak to the next lady, who's asked me the same exact information. You know, what's your name? Your address, your date of birth, when were you diagnosed, tested positive for COVID, what symptoms are you having? I'm like, oh, she's like, okay, all right, thanks. I'm gonna pass this along to the next agent. And then I'm like, I start getting a little worried. Then I'm speaking to the next agent, and they ask me the same fucking information. You know, what's your name, your date of birth, when did you test positive for COVID? And then they're like, all right, I'm gonna forward this. I'm sending you right now, escalating this to you right now. Make sure you can get your medicine. I'm escalating this right now to an assistant nurse. And I'm thinking, okay, finally, someone with the fucking medical thing. I don't know if an assistant nurse can write a prescription, but it's a good sign. So I speak to the assistant nurse. And again, same fucking questions. Name, date of birth, address, phone number, ball sack width. And I'm getting fucking furious, but I'm not gonna. I've been down this chain for so long that I can't stop now. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna escalate this to the lead nurse. Name, address, phone number, date of birth. When did you test positive? It's like, all right, I'm gonna escalate this to the supervising doctor. I'm like, okay, finally, a fucking doctor. Is this it? Is this madness over? And this doctor wants to have a Zoom. It's not a Zoom call. It's whatever prehistoric broken system the New York City department uses. So we have the Zoom call where literally I'm just fucking face to face with her on my phone. Excuse me. Answering the same fucking questions again. Name, address, date of birth, armpit hair length. And then she's like, okay, all right, thanks for the information. I'm transferring you over to the prescribing doctor now. The prescribing doctor. I'm like, okay, this has to be it. This has to be the end. And it's still via the Zoom call. Except she's like, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, no, I can't hear you. And then she's like, I was about to cry. But at least this person had the common decency to end that call and just call my personal cell. And she was like, "Hey, is it an issue if we do this over the phone or not?" And not, I'm like, I don't give a shit how we do this. And she did. She got me. Fucking the cure from Pfizer, Paxlovid. I don't know how you pronounce it. You know how long that process took? That was about a 45-minute fucking phone call of getting transferred from getting escalated from person to person to person to nurse to doctor to doctor. It's a little longer than this because The doctor had to call me back after the call wasn't working. What is this city doing? Why are they paying these? Why are there so many people in this office? And why are all of them getting paid to just pass on the fucking word? You know why? I'll tell you why. That's been my clown show of a story. All of this was real. Now that my fever's gone, I'm gonna try to get some sleep.